Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Vallecitos Water District. We'd like to call to order the regular board meeting for the Vallecitos Water District for February 5th, 2025. Sorry, I just realized my daughter is scheduled for a C-section, February 5th, 2025 at 5 o'clock. So my daughter just went into surgery, so sorry. That just hit me just now, so sorry, apologize. Before we begin, I would like to announce the members of the public. They can watch the meeting via computer, and all the information is on the website. You can listen or watch. And with that, I've asked Director Elitharp to lead us in the pledge.
Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Elitharp. Directors, please indicate your attendance. We are all present. Welcome. Extend a warm welcome to all staff and no public, but thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
No, sir.
No additions. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the regular board meeting?
To approve.
Motion by Director Hernandez.
Second.
Second by Director Kirschbaum. Vote. Motion passes. All right, I better follow along. Sometimes I get off. Do we have any public speakers?
No, sir.
No public speakers. Presentations. We do have a presentation. General Manager.
Yeah, thank you, President PENNOCK. So I want to introduce the CWEA Award for basically another great award for our basic public information and conservation group. I'd like to acknowledge that Vallecitos has won awards for the San Diego section of the California Water Environmental Association, CWEA, for Community Engagement and Outreach Project of the Year. It's for a native plant series, a native plant library, and I'm just amazed at how many awards and how well the community has really embraced this library. The Seed Library has been a surprising success, and we've had visitors travel long distance just to see our Seed Library. We've actually had somebody celebrate their birthday here for our Seed Library. It's just, I mean, Lisa has all the stories. It's just amazing. Lisa Urabe is our master gardener, and she's also the brainchild of this effort. She basically basically came up with this idea, modified it, did most, if not all, the artwork. Just absolutely amazing job. This award entry will also be forwarded to a state level, and we're hoping to get another accolade from the state. But as far as right now, Project of the Year regionally, we're very proud of that. I want to hand this over to Chris for a minute before we congratulate Lisa and the district for this award.
So, General Manager gave a really nice intro. I just wanted to throw in my kudos to the Queen of Cool over there. Lisa just comes up with these ideas, and they're just cool, and things just happen. And I don't know if I shared, but I was down in the mail room getting mail, and I got this envelope addressed to me, and I pick it up, and it's moving, it's rattling, and I move it around, and I'm like, wait a minute, somebody mailed us back seeds. Because that's what's supposed to happen. It's a library, and you're supposed to take some and then give some back. And it already happened. I was just dumbfounded by it. As General Manager noted, people coming here for their birthdays, people driving from Orange County to come see this. I'm just amazed by the level of interest in our native plant seed library, and so proud of Lisa for getting this Project of the Year award. I sure hope we get the state award, but sure happy to get this one. I'd love to have a photo, this is kind of for me, with the board and Lisa with this award, if you'd indulge me.
We need like a crown for the Queen of Cool crown.
Lisa, you should say a few words.
Is this on?
They'll turn it on.
I just want to say thank you to the board and managers and my king of cool boss, Chris, because I think the reason that I've been at Vallecitos so many years now, it's been 16 years, is because, government gets that kind of stigma of being in the box and very straight-laced, and Vallecitos has always been so out of the box, and it's because of all of you that you guys give us the freedom to just run with ideas and, you know, what do you think would help our customers? What do you think might be cool? Or I don't know, that's just kind of how this idea came about, and it's been such a benefit to the community. We've gone through about 1,000 seed packets so far since last year, so I know that the seeds are being used. I was just at Palomar Estates last week, and some of our seed packets are in their community garden. So, I mean, they are getting out there. People are using it. It's been really neat to see, and I just thank all of you, and especially Chris, for letting me just run with this idea. It's been a lot of fun and makes my job very rewarding, so thank you.
Thank you.
Can I come down into the bullpen and let me get a photo?
Is that what you call it, a bullpen?
Sure, why not? Sort of, like, right? Cool.
It's not quite a dugout. It's not quite a dugout.
That's why, didn't I hit it? Okay, so you gotta scoot back. You gotta scoot back because if you get too much under this,
You've done this a few times, right, Chris?
because it'll get that, so even all the way back. Further? All the way back against almost the wall, yeah.
So this way you guys
And then everybody like just shift a little this way.
You guys are crooked. This way?
Everybody that way. Okay, and we're smiling because we won. Victory. All right, super. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. I feel like I'm in royalty. The king and queen are cool.
Thank you so much.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Congratulations. Well, that is very cool. Thank you. Like I said, I feel like I'm in royalty with the king and queen of cool. Congratulations. Moving on with the agenda, consent items. Does any board member wish to pull an item? If not, may I have a motion to approve consent calendar as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Director Ellertharp. I'll second. Please vote. Motion passes. We're moving right along to action items. Action item 2.1, approval of a position reclassification.
Thank you, President PENNOCK. So this item actually went to Finance Committee, P3 Committee just recently, and it's basically looking at how to repurpose where Anthony left off and how to repurpose that position for the best use of the district. Denise Aviles, our Human Resource and Risk Manager, is here to present on that item, and I will continue to talk until that item comes on. So,
That's all right.
so
We know she loves to present.
she loves to present, yes. So just hold all questions to the end.
Okay.
All right, thank you, General Manager. Good evening, Directors. Tonight I am presenting the staff report for a reclassification of the Senior Executive Assistant position that is currently vacant in the General Manager's office. Whenever positions become available, Human Resources and Management are always looking at the needs of the district and how we can conduct business. As our business practices have changed, so has our need for a different type of support. Human Resources has taken on a much larger role within the district. We would like to reclassify the Senior Executive Assistant position to a Human Resources Assistant. The reclassification, or the reclassified position, will provide administrative support to Human Resources and the General Manager's office. This position will also focus on administrative level duties related to human resources, administration, and other departments within the district. The fiscal impact is a savings of approximately $49,000 for salaries and benefits. This is to replace a position that is vacant. It is not adding an additional FTE. And staff recommends that board approves and the reclassification and salary range adjustment, and to adopt the resolution to approve the adjusted annual pay schedule. Thank you, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you.
I breathed this time. I took a breath.
No, really good job. Any questions? Yes.
Is this a position for which we have already identified someone?
We have not.
Okay.
We are still going to be creating the job description. We're going to be doing a small salary survey to make sure we get the position correct on the salary schedule. Or I guess we did that already because I gave you the salary schedule. So that we have not posted for the position yet until it's approved, and then we'll go out and post.
Okay, and also, you know, the titles are different and the departments are different. Can you talk a little bit about how the job functions different from the senior executive assistant position? Thank you.
So this position will be reporting to me in HR, and it will be assisting with Bridget, our human resource analyst that we currently have on staff. Because our recruitments have increased so much, Bridget is needing help. And so this person's going to come in, help her with the lower level administrative daily duties that need to be done, so I can have her focus on higher level duties within our department. This position will also be helping the general manager's office to be covering the executive assistant when she goes on vacation or she's out sick. They'll help with travel packets, board meeting minutes, things like that. Also, some of our other departments don't have administrative help, so this position would be supporting IT in those lower level administrative duties. So, you know, whether it be data entry, maybe putting letters together, it just really, it depends on each department and what their needs are.
Any other questions? Thank you, and thank you for being so efficient to allow us to do this, because of your efficiency, I think we're able to save the funds and provide assistance to other departments, which is fabulous. Thank you. If there's no other questions, may I have a motion to approve as presented?
Move to approve.
Approval by Director Hernandez. Second?
A second.
Seconded by Director Boyd Hodgins. Please vote. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on. Item 2.2, project acceptance for the MEADOWLARK fail-safe rehabilitation Buena Reach project.
Yes, thank you. So this item actually has been before the Finance and Engineering Committee. This basically is a finalization and acceptance of one of our major projects, the FAILSAFE project in the Buena Reach. While they get this set up, so the FAILSAFE runs from MEADOWLARK all the way down to ENCINA, and there's three reaches. There's a Vallecitos only reach. There's a reach between where it's 50% and 50% Vallecitos, 50% Buena. So there's cost sharing, and then the final reach on the west side is shared by three agencies. Today, Ryan Morgan, our Senior Engineer in Capital Facilities, will be presenting on this item. So whenever you're ready, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quick question, why is it called a reach?
Well, it's basically the fail-safe pipeline, but we have three reaches, Vallecitos only, Buena Vallecitos, and then the three agencies. So we just call it reaches because it defines the ownership capacity rights, and also we share costs within those boundaries.
Gotcha. Because of the sharing cost portion, is that why we, okay. Thank you.
You're gonna help us pull it up, sorry about that.
No problem. So we have three reaches
Yeah, so it's basically.
within the district.
Yeah, starts here at MEADOWLARK, goes all the way to ENCINA. So as it travels through the different agencies' jurisdictions, there's three different, because each agency has the ability,
Okay.
or at least at one point had the ability, to put fail-safe into it.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, all right, thank you, General Manager Gumpel. And this project was initiated and designed 5 years ago. It's a milestone acceptance item for the district and personally for me as project manager. The fail-safe outfall, there we go. The fail-safe outfall is a regulatory outfall requirement. It allows the district to convey up to 3 million gallons per day from MEADOWLARK Water Reclamation Facility to the ocean outfall. And this is flows coming from secondary effluent or tertiary treated recycled water. It's used when demands for recycled water are low, or when there's operations and maintenance being performed that we need to divert flows to the ocean outfall. The Buena Reach is this reach in front of you on the exhibit from Aviara Parkway to Yarrow Drive. And it is about 10,000 linear feet of 16-inch diameter ductile iron pipe. It was originally installed in 1980. And the project objective was really to rehabilitate and replace segments of this 10,000 linear foot reach. Approximately 2/3 of the 10,000 feet were pipeline rehabilitation, and 1/3 was replacement. The lines in red represent that replacement, and a big objective for the district was to realign the fail-safe outfall into Palomar Oaks Way, into the public right-of-way, rather than through district easements, which went through a business park and a parking lot, and really had access issues for operations and maintenance. The best thing I can report about this project is it is complete. It's currently in operation. It's facilitating the work at MEADOWLARK right now, the upgrade work to happen right now. So that's the good news. There were 3 historic breaks starting from 2018, shown by the triangles on the exhibit. And from those breaks, staff was able to recognize that there was degradation of the ductile iron pipe in these break locations when we were able to access it. Going back to 2023, August 2023 was the last time the board saw this item. We awarded Felance Construction a construction agreement for $6.6 million, and then construction began shortly thereafter in November 2023. This associated with a July 1st, 2024 time of completion. And along the way, construction delays were encountered with complications specifically around groundwater dewatering and complications with the CIPP pressure lining installations. These CIPP pressure lining installations required not only the pipeline to be clean and dry, but to be inspected to verify that no obstructions exist, and vertical changes in deflection or vertical alignment changes had to be within tolerance of the liners. On the team was not only NV5 as the engineer of record, issuing them a PSA all the way back in 2020, but the district also teamed up with Riley CM for construction phase inspection and construction management services. Their PSA carried their services all the way through that time of completion of July 1st, 2024, and that equated to a time and materials not to exceed contract amount of $464,000. With the delays accounting for approximately 4 months, the construction completion was achieved in November of last year, and with that completion involved some material substitutions, specifically in the rehabilitation product technology. And prior to that substitution, the CIPP installation process required multiple 24-hour shifts required for the curing time associated with those liners. As I mentioned, the failsafe is currently operable and started up. Over the course of construction, there were 4 total change orders approved by staff. The first, in total of the 4 change orders, it tallies up to a total of $332,000. The first change order was associated with realignment of the proposed fail-safe outfall on Palomar Oaks Way. And the second and third change orders were actually deductive credits to the project. One of them was associated with that liner substitution I mentioned earlier. And the other one was just for basically taking items out of the contract. We removed some of the permanent access manholes, and we had to add in some additional work for potholing repairs and night work overtime charges, and that ended up as a deductive credit. Change orders 4 and 5 were essentially the same negotiation that took place over elevated groundwater and difficulties in installing the pressure CIPP liners. Staff had authorized change order 4 because it fell within the limits of the 5% construction contingency that was already authorized. Change order 5 has not been authorized, it is pending, but it comes out again of that same negotiation. In total, all of the 5 change orders add up to $530,000. This is a 7.9% value on the original contract amount. Fiscal impact is identified on page 22 of your board packet. The project is identified in the fiscal year 24-25 district budget for $8,003,000. Budget is funded 100% from the sewer replacement funds. And as a 50% stakeholder, the Buena Sanitation District will fund 50% reimbursement of the project's planning, design, and construction phase efforts. This includes staff, consultant, and outside services. Staff labor includes project management and review services throughout planning, design, bid, and construction, CEQA and City of Carlsbad environmental planning and permitting, and inspection staff provided observation oversight, coordination with operations staff, and coordination services in the field during construction. The two items in bold are staff is seeking approval on those two items, which are currently unauthorized, as I mentioned earlier. One of them is the Riley CM amendment for $192,455. This was for the 4 months of delay and extra services required in construction management and inspection services in the field. Staff negotiated this contract amendment value with Riley CM, and the other item is change order number 5 pending approval for $197,455 to Phelons Construction. Buena Sanitation District, as mentioned, reimburses 50% of project costs. To date, the district has received over $3.3 million reimbursements. To date, we've been billing them on a quarterly basis. Upon construction award acceptance, we will perform final invoicing to Buena Sanitation District for $920,000, and that will complete the reimbursement in full for Buena Sanitation. Project budget increases, however, are necessary to accommodate the construction schedule delays. Funds are available in the sewer replacement reserve to cover the additional $440,680 of budget deficit. And the district was required to budget 100% of the project in full and then seek reimbursements from Buena after the fact. By installing the fail-safe outfall improvements, it is achieving the district's strategic plan and tactical initiatives. The project directly supports the district's strategic plan, strategic focus area number 1, infrastructure integrity. And in addition to that, the district's fiscal year 2024 tactical plan initiative was to complete 75% of substantial construction. However, due to the construction delays, only 62% of the project was completed by June 30th, 2024. As a multi-year project, the fiscal year 25 tactical plan initiative was updated to complete construction this fiscal year. And it is also important to note that staff presented this and received support from the District Finance and Investment Committee on January 21st and the Engineering and Equipment Committee on January 27th. And with that, staff recommends for the Meadowlark Failsafe Rehabilitation Buena Reach project the following recommendations. First, to increase the project budget by $440,680 to total $8,443,680. Second, to authorize the general manager to execute Amendment 1 with Riley CM in the amount of $192,455 for additional construction management, inspection, and geotechnical engineering services. Third, authorize the general manager to execute change order 5 with Phelons Construction in the amount of $197,455 for excessive groundwater dewatering and existing pipeline condition changes during trenchless CIPP rehab. And lastly, project acceptance and authorizing the general manager to file a notice of completion and release retention of funds to the contractor following the 60-day notice period, providing there are no claims filed, in conformance with the contract documents. And I can, at this time, take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. 4 recommendations in one.
Yes, sir.
Questions?
Yes.
Thank you. This is a big project, and I know that you're looking forward to wrapping it up. It's one of our bigger projects. It's clear that this pipeline needed to be replaced, and so thank you for your work on this. I'm going to ask you the same question that I did in the Finance Committee, and that we did have some safety issues on this project. So I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, and I'd like for you to also address whether or not any of these increases were directly related to the safety issues that we had with one of our vendors. Thank you.
The safety items that you're mentioning were contractor-related safety items or subcontractor-related safety items, which fall under the prime contractor of this job. There were no safety violations of Vallecitos staff on this project. However, we did deal with a safety incident on site during one of the pressure liner installations, where personnel of the contractor had to be taken to the hospital. Happy to say they are well and recovered now. But the district followed the proper notices of correction to the contractor and allowed them to notify the district on how they were going to remedy the incident so that it didn't happen again. The district does request contractor health and safety plans be submitted as part of the early submittals process on any given project. And this one was no different, so staff had reviewed that and filed it. Essentially, the contractor broke their own health and safety plan, and we documented it and moved forward from it. It did not increase any of the project-related expenses. It didn't add any days to the contract. The situation was remedied, and the contractor moved on in the best interest possible, in good faith. So,
Thank you. Question? Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Thank you for that presentation, Ryan, for the third time.
Sure.
I just have a question, and maybe you already talked about this. The CIPP pressure lining, was that, the complications with that, was that related to the groundwater being elevated, or was it something else?
that's a good question. It was not so much groundwater related. It was more of pipeline to watering was one of the issues of getting water out of the pipe. So not necessarily groundwater, but more nuisance water, I'd call it. And additional vertical elevation changes in the pipeline, which were not documented on the as-builts. So we encountered pipe sags or bellies underneath existing storm drain features or underneath the creek, which we cross under in a couple instances. And so we didn't really know that in design. We weren't able to access inside the pipe during design to actually do an assessment. Normally on a sewer project, we could assess the inside of the pipe, but because there's no manholes on this line, we weren't able to do that. Now, one of the improvements this project provided was giving us those access points. So in the future, we'll be able to actually do our own condition assessment prior to initiating any rehab or replacement improvements. It was mostly that and struggles with the contractor achieving pre-installation inspection videos. So some of it was challenges associated with standing water in the pipe and having difficulty getting it out. And that process essentially led to just a lot of rework. And some of the rework elements were kind of brought on by the means and methods of the contractor, working upstream and basically dewatering into their own work zone further downstream, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Thank you. Sounds like a good solution. You came up with a good solution. You completely changed the methodology, right?
When we realized the district was spending too much time and not achieving the results, it was really holding up the contract and incurring too much delay. We decided to change material technology, and we went with Primus liner installation. And the great news with that was we installed about 2,700 linear feet in a week or two's time, whereas if we were trying to install the original product, it would have taken 2 to 3 months. So that was a good benefit.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Good questions. Thank you. So did you just explain dewatering? I was going to ask that. Is that just pumping and waiting?
The groundwater dewatering issue is a little interesting because at the time of taking the geotechnical auger borings to determine groundwater elevations and design, it was a dry year. It was around the 2020, 2021 timeframe. If you recall, the last 2 winters were very wet. We had several atmospheric rivers. It substantially raised the groundwater elevation to the amount of about 10 feet. So it was a substantial raise. There was real delays encountered with the groundwater dewatering system that the contractor had initiated and permitted through ENCINA. So there was also a lot of rework there, or just difficulty getting the drawdown to get a dry trench. And some of the costs that were incurred were involved soil stabilization in the pipe bedding, so that basically if you're working in a mucky trench, you can imagine the soils are very soft and saturated. We needed to infuse that with some grout injection slurry to firm up the pipe bedding, and so that we could keep moving forward.
And that's the definition of dewatering, basically what you just explained. Is that what?
Dewatering is using pumps to draw down the water table elevation,
So you can then
so that
proceed?
you can proceed with digging and laying pipe and doing the work. That primarily only involved the replacement sections, like on Palomar Oaks Way. The CIPP rehab is trenchless, so therefore groundwater dewatering was not really applicable to those improvements.
Gotcha, thank you. And just one, you mentioned this is a 50-50 with Buena Sanitation.
Right.
Are they also billed for your time or the district's time? I mean, do you build that in there as far as, because I know you're just oversight, and we've got general contractors, but.
Yeah, actually, if you go into the fiscal impact on page 23 at the very bottom, we split out the responsibilities, and it is a direct 50-50. It includes all staff labor and overhead
Okay,
charges
so
as
that's
well.
always factored in.
Yep. mhm.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I've
With
got
that,
a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate staff on a great job, Brian and whatever other staff worked on this. It's a challenging, complex project, and I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. This was one of the early ones we started when I started on board here, and I really just want to thank our inspections department. They worked a lot of late nights out there, 24-hour shifts, to oversee this, and obviously our collections department was instrumental in helping inform us on field-related decisions and histories during the planning and design phase of this. So
Yeah,
thank you.
this is the 3rd time I've heard this, and I'm still convinced it was a great project. I'd like to move staff's recommendation.
thank you. Motion to accept by Director Ellithorpe, second?
I'll second.
Second for the project acceptance for the MEADOWLARK fail-safe rehabilitation. Please vote. Well done all, thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good job. Moving on, item 2.3, ordinance 221, board director per diem review. Turn some
Yes,
time over to-
Thank you. So Director Hernandez requested at the last board meeting to bring back an item on board per diem and the board per diem amounts. And I'll be sharing in a second what we did. So basically, we went ahead and reached out to the other member agencies to see where the per diems stand and put together a little spreadsheet. So coming up right now, you can see from the staff report, change to this microphone. So you can see kind of where it stands. So right now, majority agencies still kind of put the, oh, it's not shared yet. Oh, sorry. Not yet?
Not yet. Not for me, anyway.
Oh, we're getting it now, sorry. Yep. All right.
Nope.
Should keep coming up. There we go. Okay, now the words coming out of my mouth will make some sense before I'm
It's
just
like
talking
an old bad
gibberish. Yeah.
Japanese movie there.
So what we did, what we did is we put together a quick spreadsheet looking at all the agencies and the per diem rate that they have. And there, you can see from the last column, the annual increase consideration. So you can see there is only really 2 agencies, really 1, that does an annual increase and kind of systematically. Majority of them don't. Majority agencies are still in that 150 range. The ones that kind of have a different schedule, they're always off. You can always tell they're not at a 150 or 200. They're at a, either 177 or there's a 245. And that's because they considered some type of increase, but it's not in their policy to automatically do so. With that, you can see the average is still about 162, but majority of agencies still pay about 150. Currently we're at 200, and this item was brought up by Director Hernandez for discussion, so I will yield the floor to the board.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the numbers. Thank you for the work putting this together. Any comments, questions?
Yes, I asked for this to be brought forward. We have not had an increase in per diem since 2015. The CPI during those 9 years has been 26%, which means we have lost value in that to about $56. So we're really only getting $144. Our ENCINA has an opportunity just to increase the CPI every year. We can't do that automatically. If we increased just to catch up with the past CPI, we'd be at $256. What I am proposing or suggesting is that we do increase the per diem to $250 and to bring back each year for additional approval the additional CPI increase. Now, we certainly don't ask our staff to give up the CPI, and I think it's only fair that we in fact should receive the same benefit. So I would like to move that we increase the per diem to $250 and that we bring back annually an increase per diem not to exceed 5%, which is the required top of any kind of increase.
Thank you. Jim?
Just one point of clarification. So at this meeting, the board cannot take action on increase, but the board can direct staff to move forward the public hearing for the increase. So with your motion, Director, it would be move forward.
Move it forward.
Yes.
I changed that motion to move forward to a further meeting for, I guess that would be a public hearing to 250 plus the annual review of the CPI increase.
I'll second.
And we have a first. Do you have any other discussion?
You got 5%.
No other discussion? Well, we got a first by Director Hernandez, a second by Director Boyd-Hodgins. Please vote.
And the vote is to move this forward, to bring it to an agenda.
This proposal
so-
is to move
so
forward to
you-
a public hearing to discuss, detail the per diem.
Yes.
Well, we can bring this forward at the next item, but I think there's going to be a limit on that you're probably not going to be able to get it to the $250. An increase from 200 to 250 because of the percentage limitations on annual increases, but
Right.
We'll look at that.
So this motion is just to bring it up for
To bring
further
it back
discussion.
with a proposed increase up to the maximum amount allowed, I guess.
All right.
250 or the maximum amount allowed.
All right, thank you.
Please vote.
Can't do a one-time job. That's all.
Right.
Okay, I get it.
Jim?
I didn't realize that.
Motion passes 3-2.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we'll add this item at the, either next board item or the one after, because it will be a public hearing, so we have to do the proper notifications.
Thank you. With that, moving on to 2.4, Palomar College Community Showcase Sponsorship. Who's got that? You do?
I do, thank you. So, as the board's aware, the Palomar College Community Showcase is highlighting the water technology and, well, I can't remember the name right now, but water technology. Basically, it's where you do the water and sewer resource classes for certifications and education, which is one of the pipeline events where we get a lot of our internships from. So it's definitely a program that Vallecitos already supports, and we are already committed to getting a table. I know the invitations went out for a table for a breakfast for that event. With that, and as soon as we share it, there's also a sponsorship opportunity with different sponsorship amounts. So at the last board meeting, we discussed bringing this back for consideration to sponsor the event. And if you don't mind scrolling down a little bit for me. So there's different there's different sponsorship opportunities, and looking at the sponsorship of what we've done in the past, the leader sponsor at 1,500 provides a table. We're planning on getting a table anyway, and provides that level of sponsorship. So that is kind of where the district has been in the past. Obviously, the level of sponsorship is at the board's pleasure.
So just a note, is that not the same day as the board meeting? March 5th?
I believe so, but this is at 7 a.m. So this.
Oh, this is 7 a.m., sorry.
Yes, so this.
Same day, different time.
Yes, and it's not on our per diem list, so it wouldn't be per diemable, and it's also, since there's 2 items, it wouldn't be qualified for per diem either way.
Okay. No, thank you. I think it's fabulous. Looks like we've got a lot of red lights over here. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What's that?
Do you have
Do you want to go for it? Do you have a comment? A question?
No.
Your light's on. Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Director Kirschbaum,
I just have a question, General Manager Gumpel. It says, do you know what it means when it says helping students receive financial support? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, so the one question that I got, we did ask that, is each level of sponsorship, roughly about $100 per student, is help fund different different pieces of the program. So that sponsorship basically helps to fund the program that's going on. The district already supports the program through internships and other means, but this actually helps fund the program. So this is a fundraiser for that specific program, which is the water technology program, and they've put the value about $100 per student. So $1,500 is 15 students.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
We've sponsored this in the past at the $1,500 level, is that right?
I don't recall if this item, but we've sponsored other items at about the $1,500 level in the past.
Okay, you know, if I understand correctly, this particular Palomar showcase is featuring their water technology program, something that we have been intimately involved with and intertwined with. We have now matriculated 8 interns, I believe, directly from that program. And I'm so proud of that program. And I feel like it's just a fantastic opportunity to show our support. I'm very supportive of sponsoring, and I plan to attend whether we sponsor it or not. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Good comment. Any other comments? If not, maybe we have a motion.
So move to sponsor at the $1,500 leader level.
A motion by Director Boyd Hutchins to move forward,
I'll second that.
seconded by Director Elotharp. Please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Good job. Okay, moving on. End of action items, reports. I know General Manager has a few items.
Yes, I do. So first off, tonight at 9 p.m., we'll be shutting down the water on Rock Springs and Bennett to do a valve replacement. It'll be off between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. Notifications went out. Customers have been notified. Minor change. We're going to be changing the way we do board minutes a little bit. So we're going to be adding a little bit more detail to the reports to give a little highlight. So instead of a board member report just reported about a meeting, we're going to say a board member reported about this meeting highlighted by these 1 or 2 items. So anybody from the public could get the kind of the sense of it. The other good news is we're going to start linking through the website. If you look at the minutes, there'll be links that when you click on the link, it will take you right to that item in the video. So that won't be up immediately, but talk to IT, and we have the ability to do that, so that will come up probably in the very near future. So I don't want to commit IT to anything right now. So, and then last but not least is once the board has adopted the minutes from the previous meeting, that we're going to be putting a board brief together, which is just kind of a bullet point highlight of what happened, and be sharing it on our through social media platforms. This way it'll make accessing, kind of understanding what happens at the board meeting a little bit more accessible to people who may be more inclined to look at social media. And there'll also be instructions and links to go to the actual board minutes to our website where they can actually view the video. So those things will all start. This meeting today will be the first meeting that we try that out on. But obviously the links for the video may be still forthcoming. So we're taking steps on that. finance meeting is scheduled for the 11th of the month, and there's already a pretty full calendar of finance items going there with all the different hot topics this year with rates and sewers and everything else. News also, the district has ordered its first F-150 Lightning. I approved the PO for that. That is going in. So we will be getting ready to start that process. The F-150 Lightning will replace basically a 250, so it basically meets the state CARB rule that's currently in place. It's only one at this point, and we're using in not for our emergency vehicles, but for one of our management vehicles in operations. Other items, I think you have maybe a flyer in front of you for basically February 20th, which is the blood drive. So, yep. So if any board members, Chris would love to see you there, give you extra treats, put a social media post out. So it's an opportunity if you're so inclined. And I know we mentioned this before, but it's just a reminder, the first day of spring, which is March 20th, we're going to be having the dedication ceremony for Ed Pedrazi at our Twin Oaks Reservoir site. More information will be going on that, but if you are interested in attending, please put that down on your calendars. Last but not least, I think I've let the board know that I had a meeting. The mayor has asked for a meeting for myself, the city manager, Director PENNOCK, and Director Hernandez. And there was also 2 staff members from the city. The subject matter was about sewer capacity and where we have basically pinch points on lack of sewer availability in the district. We discussed general sewer capacity concerns in 3 different areas. Over by Montiel, where there was a hotel developer. Over by the Twin Oaks, which the board already took action on approving increased capacity fees for a new Twin Oaks sewer. And University District area where the University District is looking at 2 sewer improvements that cross the freeway. All 3 items are actually resolved at this point unless there's something new that comes up. And we're explaining. I also shared the board brief that was provided, presentation by staff on the history with the hotel development. It was provided updates, and the hotel developer actually has submitted plans for sewer improvements. So that's good news there. General discussion also included if there's a better process on with city staff, and I indicated that there was a informal process in the past where city staff would call myself or my predecessor up, ask about project potential, as far as sewer water issues prior to entitlement. That informal process was lost through the retirements and was never formalized at the city. So some of these projects slipped through the cracks. The city staff and our staff are now working on a formal process in which the city will contact the district, send development our way early during the entitlement process so they are aware of any restrictions that the district may have prior to getting full approvals and entitlement of the city. And that was really the main focus of the meeting from the mayor. And that was the main, and really that's something that should have been happening. But as the district reacts to the city's improvements, we don't approve development. And we don't know what the city is improving if we're not made aware of. So with this new process, it will mimic the informal process that we had for majority of my 20 years here. And the city staff themselves, they just didn't know about it because it's new staff, there's been turnover. So it wasn't dropped maliciously or on purpose because it actually creates a lot of heartburn for the city. So this is just an opportunity for the 2 agencies to work together. That was the gist of the report, but I'll be happy to answer any questions on that. So.
Thank you, GM Gumpel. Good report. Any comments?
I've got a question, not on that, but on the electric vehicle.
Yeah.
Do we have charging stations installed?
No, we're still working through the Power Your Drive program, but with the Power Your Drive program, it's a commitment of at least 1 or 2 electric vehicles moving forward. We're still moving through that process. We are going to provide an electric charging station for that vehicle, but it may be, Eric, if you mind, are we going to just provide a 110 for that or a 220?
220.
So we will provide a 220 for that. We'll probably do it, I'm guessing we'll probably do it internally?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll have the ability to charge it before the vehicle arrives.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
I have a question.
Good question. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that report, and I appreciate that you followed the process that we outlined in prior board meetings, whereby it came to light that staff members and 2 board members were meeting with a developer, and this is the same developer, I'll put that on the record, that called out staff and 2 board members last year. I'm glad that you reported that out. That is the process. Are these meetings per diemable?
No, these should not be per diem meetings.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to get that on the record as well. Thank you for that report.
Thank you. District Council.
Just a brief report. I just draw your attention to what the governor did this week regarding executive orders regarding groundwater recharge. I know it may not affect us, but he's included a number of items to fast-track groundwater recharge projects and to maximize stormwater capture. So that may be something partnering with our stormwater generators, given our interest in the basin, et cetera. I think this just flags probably more attention. Unfortunately, the fire is drawn to the water supply issues and may provide a catalyst for those types of projects.
Thank you so much. It's always good to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
San Diego County Water Authority. Yes, did you go to a meeting?
Thank you. Yes, I did.
Wow, I'm waiting for this first report.
Yes, well, I appreciate that. So it was a long meeting. We also had a closed session, and I'm just going to pull up my
As
report.
Director Ellertharp says,
I know. It was a long meeting. And I also wanted to report about the Metropolitan Water Tour that I took, and I'm not finding my, hold on, just give me 1 minute. I don't seem to have it. Oh, no, here we go. Okay. So we talked a little bit about, so I'm a member of the Finance and Administration Committee, and we talked a lot about budget development. So that is being developed. It's a very complicated process, similar to our process. And I wish that I had some good news that we were not going to be staring down another double-digit increase, but as it looks right now, they are going to try to push that through. And similar to our process, it is very complicated there with a lot of moving parts. They talked a lot about debt service, and it was sort of like drinking from a fire hose, but they're talking about, rather than extending the financial forecast, they're looking more close, like in a 1 or 2 year range, and I'm not sure that I'm saying that correctly, but my takeaway from that was that it's going to help better predictions on their end, which will help inform better predictions on our end. So that was one of the main takeaways. We did have a closed session meeting, and that was also interesting. And then the full meeting, I'm scrolling a lot because it was a very long meeting.
you never took this many notes.
Board packet.
It's 300 pages. They just talked a little bit about the snowpack. Unfortunately, we don't have as much snowpack predicted this year. They talked a little bit about the weather conditions. There's other things too as well, and I promise I'll try to be better prepared next time. But it was a long meeting, and there was a lot to learn. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to continuing.
Thank you. When you say a long meeting, how long is a meeting? I don't know.
Well, so interestingly, the committee meetings meet in the morning, and then the actual board meeting starts at 2 p.m. And so, the actual board meeting was 3-ish, with the closed session, it was like 3-ish plus hours. But then the committee meetings were in the morning, and I'm on Finance and Administration and Imported Water. So a lot of talk about Colorado River, a lot of talk about MET and imported water. So it's a whole day affair.
Well, thank you for the report. Much appreciated.
I have a question real quick. Thank you, Director Boyd Hodgson, for your service for that 8-hour day that you had down there. The double-digit rate increases that you were talking about, can you share the number, or like what type of double-digit is it?
So I don't think that they know the full number yet. They're still putting together the budget. And
Okay.
I think that that's part of the issue with us as well, is that we don't always, our knowledge of when they get their numbers doesn't always match up when we have our numbers, so there's a mismatch. And that's something that I still don't fully understand, even though I've heard it several times from staff and these meetings. But I think they're working on trying to minimize that level of unpredictability or discomfort. But they didn't talk about good news, only a 4%. They didn't say that. So I don't think they know just yet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Encina wastewater, did you have any meetings?
Our capital meeting is on the 19th, and unfortunately, I left my minutes on the board meeting. Director PENNOCK, you got anything to add on our board meeting? I know we had the co-session, we got that resolved, but I don't think there's anything else of major
Nothing reportable.
importance.
Yeah, nothing reportable
Thank you.
that I can think of, thank you. Standing committees? Any standing committees? You want to report on?
Yeah, I'll report on we had an engineering equipment committee on January 27th. Items for discussion or in fiscal year 24-25 capital improvement program Q2 update. The second item was the project acceptance for the MEADOWLARK FAILSAFE rehabilitation BUENA REACH project. And the third was the roof replacement for the district admin and operations buildings. And we also supported, in addition to the FAILSAFE rehab project, we did support the roof replacement project as well.
Thank you. You want to report out?
Sure. So the P3 committee met yesterday. The first thing we talked about was development of an administrative code, which Kim has been working on. So right now, our district, and correct me if I say this wrong, is run by lots of ordinances that are all over the place, and it's hard to find them, and they change all the time. And so what we're doing now is developing an administrative code that has all of the rules and basically codifies all of the ordinances that we have for our district. So Kim is presenting that to the P3 committee in piecemeal. So there was like 3 sections, I think, that four sections that she presented yesterday. So I appreciated that as well, because even the 4 sections was a lot. But it seemed like, and Director PENNOCK had this question, is what has really changed? I think the answer was there's not really anything that changes. It's just making everything easily accessible. So that was good. So we went over that, and then that will come before the board sometime in the summer when the whole administrative code is completed. We talked about the employee position reclassification, which we supported and we approved tonight. We also talked about an employee certification incentive program, where GM Gumpel is proposing that we give incentives to our staff who take the initiative to have higher education and get additional certificates. So right now, staff does get reimbursed for whatever cost the class is, but they're not getting paid for any type of additional any time. So this is kind of an incentive program that will come before the board, and we supported that. And then Chris, who he's not here, but he presented an entire overview of his department and conservation. So that was fun as well.
It was.
Yeah.
Good report.
Thank you.
And just a note on that with Kim, that was a good hire. Not only is she super knowledgeable, but she's a kick.
So yeah, she actually said that she was very passionate about administrative codes. So
Yeah.
that's like, that's a jewel right there.
And document retention, yeah, that's hard to find.
Yeah, it truly is, and it's just a great personality and very knowledgeable, so that, yeah, that was a great hire, and I'm looking forward to kind of the end result, which is, she said, probably later in the year. Yeah. Thank you. Any other standing committees? Director's reports on meetings, conferences, seminars attended. I know we all attended one. Yeah. We'll start there.
Yes, I attended the conference, CA
CASA.
Thank you. Get them confused. It was a good conference. AI was one of the big topics. They had a big meeting on that, very, very important, and about all the things that are possible. One of the things that I mentioned when I mentioned it to Manager Compel is the access people may have if we get too deep into the AI. But it's here. It's going to be enlarged. Everybody is involved. In the future, we're all going to have some kind of AI looking over our shoulder or helping us do our work. But the one thing that it did pop into my head, and you mentioned about the expanded report on our board and minutes, there is an AI program apparently that does all that and expands on it. So I don't know if you're looking into that at all, but it was a good conference. The the only thing that wasn't so good was they had the reception the last day at the hotel, Hilton Hotel, a 40-acre facility that they dropped us off at the entrance, and we had to walk a mile to get to the darn conference. Then it was in the evening. There was a heater or two, but we stayed for a bit. Thank goodness Director PENNOCK drove, so we came back with him. But overall, it was a great conference.
Thank you. Director Kirschmeyer?
Sure. So, yeah, the name of the conference was "The Times They Are a Changin',"
Yes.
after a Bob Dylan lyric, or I don't know if that's the name of a song or lyric, but it was appropriate because it was really talking about the growing role of technology in wastewater management, AI, and also renewable energy. So, one of the sessions I went to was air, climate, and energy. I think Director PENNOCK was in that one with me as well. So one item of discussion in that session was the new air toxics reporting requirement from California Air Resources Board. So I guess there's a new list of toxics that we have to report on. When I say we, I guess that would probably be ENCINA and not us. So that was very detailed and interesting. I also went to a panel on renewable energy and innovative technology, which is really interesting and definitely like drinking from a fire hose. Well, actually, we all went to that. That was the second day, so everybody was at that session. So a couple things that I just wanted to highlight. So some new technologies that I had never heard of. There's a company called Rushnu, I think it is, where they're using carbon catalyze, which is a carbon capture technology that captures CO2 from biogas and then produces sodium hypochlorite, which is something that we use in the wastewater treatment process. So Silicon Valley Clean Water is collaborating with them to implement that technology. That's brand new. There's also a presentation from Mainspring Energy. They are producing a linear generator that runs on biomethane, and Napa San is actually partnering with them. They don't have it constructed yet. It's in design, but as I understand, I think this is something that ENCINA is kind of interested in doing as well. So that'll be exciting to see if that happens.
Yes.
They call it the CLEAR project.
Yeah.
The CLEAR project, okay.
Yeah. ENCINA is actually moving forward with that because it's an EPA requirement to diminish our carbon footprint, and we have approved that. And we are doing actually a linear generator, so that'll be coming up in the future.
Yeah, that's very exciting because it'll be one of the first, I think.
Yeah.
So then the last item that I have a note on is fuel cell energy, which is stackable fuel cells, kind of looks like a deck of cards, which is generating power from biomethane. So I guess it's the same concept as the linear generator, but a different application. So LA County Sanitation District already has this in place, which is really cool, and they're actually getting revenue from the sales. They're actually selling natural gas from this system, and they're getting revenue from that. So LA County Sanitation is huge, so that's a little different than us here. But anyway, there's a lot of really interesting renewable energy technologies, and it's sort of an evolving field. So definitely something for us to keep an eye on and collaborate with ENCINA. Thank you.
Thank you. And you have a comprehensive report. I love it. It's all printed out and very nice, your notes. That's a lot.
I really enjoyed this conference. So.
Yeah, I can tell. Thank you. No, and it was nice to attend. Yes, Director Clark, go ahead.
Oh, okay. A great report. Thank you, Director. Yeah, I had a couple takeaways. I was going to call them highlights, but one of them I don't consider a highlight. It's I sat in on a nutrient, I would call it potential nutrient removal requirements for ocean discharges. And the reason it's not a highlight is because this could be tremendous cost to the Encina Wastewater Authority. It's something that the northern agencies are dealing with right now as far as setting nutrient removal limits in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's 37 dischargers and contending with algae blooms over the last couple of years. The regulatory body is probably going to issue nutrient limits for them. I would put money on it. But as far as Southern California, it's a little bit different situation. There really isn't. I think they're looking to create a model in order to figure out what the impacts of ocean discharges are. So we're not quite there yet because we're not discharging into an enclosed bay like the San Francisco Bay Area. So that was one of the takeaways, is this potential nutrient removal on ocean discharges. The other is, there was mentioned artificial intelligence discussion, particularly generative AI, which sounded to me like the major benefit is sharing of unstructured data between systems, CMMS, GIS, SCADA, AMR, financial systems. I hope we're starting to use it for sharing data. It's going to be huge, I think. You know, sharing this data has been traditionally labor-intensive and costly, and I see a real opportunity to be more efficient and reduce costs with AI. So that was kind of my takeaway.
Thank you. Thank you for the takeaways. Director Wood-Hudson.
It's hard when you go almost last. We all have all attended the same conference. But just a couple of points. So yes, on the AI presentation, I found that fascinating, and I like to think of it optimistically as ways to work smarter, not harder. And one of the women that was presenting about AI, she said, you know, be the human in the middle. So AI is going to generate an output, but it's not an output that can just be immediately implemented or executed, whatever its purpose is. There has to be some kind of like a set of eyeballs or somebody to review it to make sure it makes sense. And that's why I am not concerned that it's going to take all of our jobs or all of your jobs, because there has to be a human in the middle. And I think it can tremendously improve our workflows so that we can put more of our own human brain power towards the more complicated things rather than the mundane things. So I hope that we as a district are looking into doing more of those things. The minutes example is a great start. I attended the legislative update, and the big theme was, well, this just happened, but we're not sure if it's going to stay. Well, this just happened, but we're not sure if it's going to stick. But one of the things that they talked about, they're going to try to bring the WIPES Act forward again, and if you recall, there's a lot of discussion about that. It's basically just labeling baby wipes as not flushable. Because they really gum up the works, as we all know. So that's one of the things that they were talking about, as well as WIFIA modernization. I unfortunately don't have many notes on that, so I'm not sure how to elaborate on that. But also low-income ratepayer assistance and permitting reform to try to fast-track enabling permits to be implemented so that work can just get done faster.
Thank you.
I just have a question too. I think all the directors are, you know, we are really concerned about making sure that we're sort of harnessing AI as much as we can. I think it's really going to make us more efficient as a district. So I'm curious, do we have any type of like policy for AI or anything like that?
We do. We actually have a responsible AI policy currently, and you know, I went to the same conference and heard the same thing. So I already sent an email in advance to Jason and Matthias, say, hey, we're going to have to relook at our policy and start looking at you know, responsible and kind of systemic integration where it makes sense. Matthias?
Great question. I figured that was coming, so I'm ready to provide an answer on that. So we do have a policy. Our use of technology policy was recently revised to include artificial intelligence and use of artificial intelligence, specifically within our organization. Director Boyd Hodgson, I echo your remarks. That was very good in that we do have a lot of these outputs that can be presented and utilized and leveraged. However, A lot of those artificial intelligence programs, those are learning models, and they provide feedback or responses based off of inputs, some of which those inputs might not be validated. And so one of the things that we really need to be careful of, yes, we definitely want to harness that. We will be utilizing it. We're actually going to be talking about specific use cases. However, we have to remember a couple things. One, public records, to make sure that anything that we do put into like a large language model doesn't have any proprietary or confidential information, because that is essentially a model that is just uploaded and shared. And so we have to be mindful of the type of inputs that we utilize, and two, we need to make sure that we validate the output. And so we do have a framework for that. The answer is yes, we do plan on utilizing it, and it is part of our existing policy. So it's a matter of identifying use cases that will be of benefit to the organization, planning, getting buy-in, and executing on those. So.
And the district, I guess, hasn't done a really good job of showcasing where we already use AI. We've used it in some of our operations. We're looking at, for example, leak detection has been used, and then looking at models where instead of a human being looking at a sewer video, which is basically somebody looking in a sewer pipe for hours at a time, which is fairly mundane, the AI can look at it really quick, identify where any cracks or offsets are, and provide a report output. Jason, do you have more on that?
Yeah, I was just going to say we did a pilot study with AI last year. Haven't fully vetted the results to compare it to human data results, but that's something that we need to validate what the AI spit out. And then we're also looking, as the general manager said, other opportunities. And we're going to look at this as like sort of like pilots, right? Pilot studies to see once we work and get that use, what's that need? Let's create a pilot and let's test it out and validate it.
Staff will be coming back to the board at some future date when we have a little bit more thought into this and kind of giving it just a report or an update.
Thank you. Good discussion. Thank you. Any other comments?
Real quick, I had one other thing. I attended January 23rd, an American Water Works Association webinar on pipeline asset management. It was very good. It was free. Every once in a while they have these free seminars, so I try to take advantage of them. Anyway, the discussion topics were strategies for conducting risk assessment using existing data, improving future data collection, and incorporating risk data into pipeline management in order to anticipate and mitigate threats, optimize maintenance schedules, and maximize asset life and value. So it was a very good overall view of asset management.
Thank you. And like Director Boyd Hodgson said, yes, after going last, I mean, all my fellow board members, you summarized the conference very well, so I have nothing else. I crossed off, they talked about that, I had about 10 things, and you guys hit on all of them, so thank you. Thank you for getting me covered. Any other reports? If not, moving on to, that's the end of reports, right? Other business, quarterly board expenses. We have a comment or a question on that?
I'd like to have a discussion about this. So, you know, every quarter, these are published for the public to see, and these are our per diems that we get for attending meetings. And I had a question that I asked the general manager earlier today. There are two items that appeared on directors' per diems, and it wasn't clear to me that these items were per diem-able. So I asked for clarification around that. And I'm going into my 5th year on the board, and I have never been given the direction that the general manager gave me this time. It's never been explained to me that items like this, like the tank inspection that appeared on one of our per diems that many of us went to, but only one of us indicated that we filed the per diem. And then another site visit that 2 of us went to, and only one of us claimed as a per diem. So it's fuzzy. You know, we have specific memberships in different organizations. When we attend those meetings, they are, you know, we receive that compensation if we, you know, apply for the per diem. But some other things are a little bit fuzzy, and there's no guidance in it. It's not in the ordinance. So therefore, we need to have a discussion about that. You're working on an administrative code. It needs to be in the policy what exactly is per diemable. it never occurred to me that by going to the tank inspection, visiting the tank site, that I could add that as a per diem. But one of us did. The other three of us that went didn't. So there's clearly a lack of understanding and a lack of clarity around that. And, you know, had I known that that was called a district-sponsored event, I've attended several district-sponsored events over the tenure of my time, and I've not claimed them. And, you know, it's not a lot of money, but it's just having an understanding so that we are all on the same page and we are all compensated for the work we do, I think is very reasonable. So I would like to have a discussion about that. I'd like to see our policy updated, and I'd like a clear guidance on, for example, going to a site, going to a dedication of a Jeep, going to you know, the Palomar College, which we did vote on. And historically, when we vote on things like off-site, then those are per diemable, but we didn't vote on going to the tank inspection. It was just a thing that we did, and to me, it wasn't per diemable because we didn't bring it to the board and vote on it. So I think we need some discussion and clarity around that.
Thank you for bringing that up. And I know Kim is working on her administrative code, and that was brought up already, and it talks about the memberships that we are a part of and what is per diemable. On that topic, sometimes it's actually, the onus lies on us, because I don't know how, we're all a little different how we report. And I'll just be, I wait till like, you know, the 3rd of the next following month, and I just kind of go through my calendar. I don't write it down each, and I just go, shoot, what did I do? I got to look at my calendar. So it's probably on the reporting side on this board member's side as far as where did I go and what did I do, because I don't keep up with it daily. So I think part of that is on each of us as board members to keep track on a more of a specific basis as far as reporting. Because
Yeah, 100%. I have a color-coded calendar, and I do that too. But again, I don't see everybody's report. And
Yeah, I don't even know.
but some people do, you know, and if it's something that we all attend, and some of us claim it and some of us don't.
Well, I know
then,
I've gotten some things
you know,
back from, and not recently, like when I was maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like I sent in my little thing and he says, yeah, that's not per diem, you know. So I've gotten some things back saying, you know, where was that again? And I said, I went to this or whatever. Yeah, you can't, that's not per diemable. And I said, okay, no problem. So I throw a bunch, you know, the things that I think are. So you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
there has to be some, I guess, more.
Some guidance.
Yeah, and I think there has been. I think part of that is also just the learning curve. I mean, some of us in the beginning, like, I haven't done much of that lately, but
Well,
thank
maybe
you for bringing that up.
our reports need to be distributed to everybody.
Well, this is an information item, and it comes to the board quarterly. So every quarter, you do get this report. It's always looking backwards at what has been paid,
That's
just
the
like
thing.
this is. But I do agree that your ordinance 221 is not clear at all. That other item you raised during the meeting, where there's going to be a meeting with the city of San Marcos, I would have said it falls under other meetings listed in your ordinance. So you, the board, control the policy and really should clarify this if it's going to be an issue, because I think the events you generally attend are historic and categorically could be established, so.
With that, you know, the item 5.1, director comments and agenda items, if at the pleasure of the board, we can bring this back, and we can bring this back of one of two ways. We can bring this back with an amendment to ordinance 221, or we could just wait into the new admin code, but I don't anticipate that until this summer, because there's still a lot of work left. So, but either way, from a staff perspective, we go through historically, look at items and add it to 221, so it's very specific of what's included and what is not.
Can we do that?
Oh, well, yeah, in the next item, but this is
Yeah.
just an information, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I didn't even know we could go back and look at people's other board members, so shame on me. But thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Any other comments, director's comments, future agenda items?
Yes, of course, with these fires in LA, I was going to ask, do we know if we have any dry fire hydrants?
So, no, all of our fire hydrants are wet barrel hydrants, and our system's full. We do have, they're not dry fire hydrants because there's a problem with the water, but we do have dry fire hydrants at MEADOWLARK and in certain high-pressure areas, because that's what they're designed to be. They're called dry fire hydrants. But as far as water in the system right now, our system, except for where we're shutting it down like tonight.
Right.
Our fire hydrants are wet barrel and they are available for firefighting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Yes?
I just had a comment. I just wanted to thank GM Gumpel and the staff for just adding some more detail on our meeting minutes, and then I'm looking forward to seeing the board brief. I think it's really important that, I mean, we're definitely transparent to the public. The public can find any type of information if they look hard enough, but I think we also need to make it easily accessible. So I appreciate those changes, and I'm looking forward to the board brief. Thank you.
Thank you. Great comments, great meeting. Anything else? If there's no other business, meeting's adjourned.
What?
Nope, not yet.
The
What?
future agenda
Future
items?
agenda items. I did ask that, I thought.
Yeah.
Any other
well,
future
but-
agenda items?
But including the ordinance 221, which you guys were just discussing. I didn't know if there were.
Oh, we need to vote on that?
You need
Well,
to.
I'll second.
You need,
I'll
somebody needs
second.
to
I'll be the
recommend it,
second.
and there needs to be a second.
Recommended by Director Hernandez, seconded by
Yeah.
Director Boyd Hodgins for a future agenda item for 221.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And with that, anything else? Meeting's adjourned.